can make out of stuff that would normally be thrown out. This was from a junkyard. And, you know, I had kind of a disposable childhood. And in essence, I'm trying to recreate my childhood here, to play. And when I'm doing these sculptures, this is essentially play. I live in a playpen. This space here is full of tools and ways to create and escape in a way. And so, you know, the recycling aspect has something to do with, you know, it's kind of a theme of my life. The priests around, like the grand jury last year, found out, you know, in their research that this had been the systematic movement of priests from diocese or from parish to parish without ever addressing the issue of clergy sexual abuse. And what I was addressing specifically in this piece was the apology that I never got from the diocese. And once again, in reference to wordplay, I was probably grinding or riveting and came up with this idea, remorse code, play on the words of Morse code. And I thought immediately, mea culpa. And that is what I never heard from the Harrisburg Diocese. So I set about to refresh my Boy Scout memories of taking Morse code for my merit badge and came up with a series of dots and dashes read vertically, which is these two dashes are M. This one dot is E. This dot and dash is A. That's mea for my. And then this line here, the dash dot is C. So on down the line, each one of these rows is a letter. So this is MEACULPA, mea culpa, which is through my fault. And that's how it is translated in the Catholic liturgy. So I put a lot of thought into how I was going to construct these appendages coming from the base of the sculpture and carefully plotted out a disc that I would punch holes in, everything. And she remembers her dad talking about some of the altar boys being abused. But, you know, it's like, as long as it wasn't his son, who, incidentally, he was this guy that was talking about knowing of the abuse that I was enduring. This guy was on the parish council, so he was one of the people involved in the parish, and he himself would not allow his son, who was a year younger than me, to be an altar boy. As long as it was somebody else's kid, it's okay. Can you imagine what kind of mindset it would take? You know, just this whole idea that these kids are expendable. You know, as long as it's not my kid, it's okay. They're lonely. I mean, it just boggles my mind. I've got segments of my family that are just torn asunder from others in my family that have been abused.
It's just
child, but in that case, I really think the priest should just be imprisoned. I mean, it's sexual abuse. These guys how is it that they can be above the law? How is it that they can be shuffled around from parish to parish and this whole thing is covered up like it's not occurring? And then there's no government entity that's going to hold them accountable for that. How is it that they can act with such impunity? So the notion of to me it's just absurd that would even be a question, when in reality, if you have a school system and you've got the superintendent that is shuffling, say a large school system like in Los Angeles, and you've got the superintendent of that organization shuffling pedophile teachers around, and then gets discovered, what's going to happen to that superintendent? He's going to go to jail because he enabled this crime to be committed. It's a crime, and that's what just blows me away about this blind Catholic faith, where it's not even seen as a crime. It's a sin. It's like, give me a break. It's a crime. It is criminal activity, and the act of covering it up and making believe it's not happening. I'm thinking right now that what's come to light in Italy about that. I guess it was a convent where pregnant nuns were sent to have their babies